Hello everyone, happy Sunday when you're watching this, but it's actually a Friday night, Friday the 4th of August. It's just coming up 8 o'clock. I finally sat down, all showered, had my tea, and I thought for this week, because this week has been just quite monotonous. There's nothing really been going on. I've just been going through sort of my week and there's not really been that much exciting things going on, so I thought I'd just do a bit of an update as to how prep's going, and then also I did ask for just if anyone had any questions, and I actually got quite a few questions, so today's going to be a bit like a Q&A, but just to give you an update. So as of today, when you're watching this being Sunday, we are officially 5 weeks out, which is absolutely ridiculous. I can't actually believe that we're 5 weeks out. So there have been quite a few changes since I last gave you a bit of an update. So first of all, just going into the stats and the updates on how everything is. So my current weight is sitting at 48.5 kg, which is around 7.5 stone. And I don't think I've been, not that it's about the weight, but this is what I'm talking about. Can't remember the last time I've been this weight, which is absolutely crazy. 22.5 to a 23-inch waist at the moment, which again, tiny. I've always had a small waist though. So that's the data. We are in a really good spot. Coach is happy. Of course, this is the first time that I'm doing this, so I really don't know how I'm supposed to look. So I'm just going off what she's telling me and trying to not get in that kind of like prep thing of looking and panicking that I'm not lean enough, because I still have enough time and I'm sure that things are going to change. I know that they're going to change as I go through. At the moment, how cardio steps and workouts are looking, I am at cardio every day. As of today, it's up to 45 minutes instead of 40. And what I found is the best way for me to handle this is sometimes I do it in one go, probably twice a week I'll do it in one go. Like on Sunday when I have no plans for the day, I'll get up and I'll do my fasted cardio for the full time, because apart from that, I'm not doing anything all day. So I can do it, whereas otherwise I'm breaking it up into a 25 minutes at some point in the day, probably fasted, and then 20 minutes a little bit later on, usually after lunch, because that gives me a nice little break up of the day. Steps have gone from 10 to 12,000 steps daily, and actually once I film this Q&A, I'm about to hop on the, my watch isn't correct, my phone is correct. I'm about to go and hop on the walking pad because I've got about 2,000 left to do, and that'll take me 10 minutes to get a walk on. And training still at 4 days, 2 posterior, 1 quads and delts, and 1 push day. This stayed that same split throughout the whole time, which I'm really grateful for, because my body's gotten used to it. But now she has slightly altered some exercises and some reps and sets, because my strength just is not where it was. It's only really in the last sort of 3 weeks I'd say that I've been struggling, but there was one particular exercise on my quads day, my quads and delts day, where it's a muscle heavy round, which is 6 sets of 4 reps. And usually by the time I get to like the 4th set, that's when I feel like I'm really having to dig to get it. But there was about 3 weeks ago, come this halfway through the 2nd to the 3rd set, I was like, no, I'm too weak for the weight that I was doing. So a few things have been adjusted there, but all in all, we're in a good place. Things are changing now and I'm really feeling it. Not in a bad way, but I am just feeling now that I am in prep, and I'm glad that it's only come to like the last 5 weeks before the season begins that I'm feeling this way. Because obviously once the season starts, you know, show, 2 weeks, show, week, show, it's kind of like, I know it will be difficult, but we've got it's shorter bursts of what we're doing, so a bit more to focus on. But otherwise, that's kind of where we're at. I had my first bikini measurement sort of Zoom consultation the other day, so that's really exciting. And this weekend I'm booking all accommodations, tan and everything for my first show. I'm not booking anything else just yet because I just don't want to book and then anything happens. So I'm just kind of keeping it a couple of weeks, and then probably like 3 weeks out before the first show, I'll book potentially for the second show. So yeah, that's the update on prep. So let me just, these questions that I got quite a few actually. I was quite shocked People mainly are asking these questions as well on Anonymous, and some of the questions are fine to ask, so I don't know why people are afraid, because I put a question box on there on Instagram as well, but never mind. But I'm going to try and get through them in the next 10 to 15 minutes. I'm going to start off with the sort of shorter questions that I got, and then end with the slightly longer ones. So I'm just going to have a quick sip of my drink, and then we'll get into the questions. Alright, so going into question number 1, not all of these are related to fitness or bodybuilding, actually more are not than are, but I thought some questions were ridiculous. Are you single? Who was the last guy that you messaged? And I was like, clearly these people don't follow me because I am married, been married for about nearly 2 years now, which is ridiculous. But anyway, so the first question, favourite show right now? And I'm guessing if you're asking for a TV show, I'm guessing that's what this is. My 2 favourite things at the moment are The Witcher, season 3, I think. Oh my goodness, which one is it? I can't remember. But The Witcher, I'm obsessed with that, and that is, I'm either watching a YouTube or that whilst I'm doing my cardio. Love it, Henry Cavill. Some people find his voice weird, I find it quite the opposite. And then I'm also obsessed with the TV show on Netflix, Is It Cake? Which is weird because whilst I've been going through my prep, the past couple of weeks my food focus has been high, as my calories have been dropping, I've been following more Instagram accounts for like food inspo, and it was doing me no favours, so I unfollowed a few. I kept following, you know, ones that I can still make, like pasta dishes and stuff like that, but all the sort of desserty ones I unfollowed. However, watching Is It Cake doesn't affect me, and it's more sort of about the artistry of the baking and how clever it is to make, you know, what looks like a shoe or like a hairbrush, but really it's cake. So if you haven't watched that on Netflix, I would highly recommend. It's really good. Second question is, what is my worst habit? Now, I actually had to ring up my husband and ask him about this because I was like, I don't actually know. And it took him a minute to think, which I kind of liked. But he could have also just been really nice to me. But there are 2 that I thought of. One is a habit of mine that I do not every day, but I do it weekly, is sometimes I will start cleaning the kitchen at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, because I can't stand waking up to a messy kitchen. And if I've fallen asleep on the sofa or, you know, gone up to do admin or something, I do that really late, and I know that drives my husband absolutely insane. But I would probably say a worst habit of mine is when I have my chicken, I'm obsessed with cutting out all the little bits of tendons, a little bit of sort of blood in there and veins or whatever it is. And if I don't manage to cut it out and I miss a bit when I'm eating my food, I can't swallow it and I have to pick it out. And my husband always looks at me and he knows when I found it, and I'm like getting ready to just pick it out and put it in the bin, and he absolutely hates it. So sorry, that was a bit too much information, but you asked. So that I'd probably say that is probably up there with the worst habits. I suppose cleaning before you go to bed, that's just good sense. Tell me if I'm wrong. Third question, what phone do you have? I have the 13 Pro Max. It's a big old thing, and I've got literally the smallest hands ever, but I love it. And I'm one of those people where I need a big screen to work. I can't reply on emails really unless it's a quick one on my phone. I have to be on my laptop or my Mac. So yes, 13 Pro Max. Next question was, am I religious? Now, I'm not going to go into this too much. I was christened, but I've never been to church. I feel like that was just the thing that you did 30 years ago. Whereas now, I'm not really religious. I don't necessarily believe in God or anything like that. However, I do believe that there is something, and I believe this because there has to be, but I'm not spiritual, but I do believe more in energies and that kind of thing rather than an actual religion. What's your favourite food? So if we're talking different things, my favourite food as in a takeaway, first option would always be Indian. I am obsessed with Indian food. I love it so much. I have done for years and years and years. I also love Mexican. They're probably my top 2. And if we're talking about a snack or something just a little, I have such a big sweet tooth, and actually, because whilst being on prep, I haven't been craving sweets like I thought I would, but I do love a big bag of squashies, you know, the drumstick sweets. Something like that is my favourite, but I would definitely say my favourite food would have to be Indian. I also really love a roast dinner as well. Next question, what do you think about politics? No comment. I have an opinion, but I am not articulate enough to get it across in the correct way, so I'm just going to dodge that question. What was my last song on Spotify? So the last song that I had was this morning on my gym playlist, which was, I will show you, Titanium, David Guetta. That's just on my Shuffle Gym Pump playlist. But the official last thing that I listened to was a mindful driving meditation up at the top, because I didn't get to do my meditation at home before I left the house, so I did it in the car. Prefer doing it at home, but I got it in the car. So that was what was last on Spotify. Next question, how tall am I? That question should be rephrased to how small am I? I am 5 foot nothing, so I'm really quite small. I think that's like 151.5 centimeters, so I'm really not very big at all. How big of a nerd am I? I don't think I'm a nerd at all. I definitely wasn't a nerd in school. I am not someone who finds, I'm not clever, but I have to work a little bit harder than others. But now I would say, because my interest is in fitness, in the body, in nutrition, I would say now my nerdiness when it comes to that is probably like a strong 8.5. Probably say, realistically. I'm not like a 10 out of 10 because I don't spend my entire life doing it, but I read about it most days and I really enjoy it and I love being more educated on it, so 8.5. Next question was, what is the last thing that you ate? So, and I wrote down, at the time I got sent this question, last thing I had was a salmon fillet with steamed broccoli, sprouts and reduced fat French dressing. That's kind of a staple at the moment whilst I'm going down in prep and my calories are dropping. But the last thing I ate just now was 120 grams of chicken, 40 grams of whole wheat fusilli pasta, 30 grams of avocado, 15 ml of salad cream with 70% less salt or whatever it has, and 50 grams of fat-free cottage cheese. And that's something that I've never eaten before, but during my prep now, cottage cheese is becoming a bit of a staple. Low in fat, good amount of protein, and quite tasty as well. And also just going into something I missed, my calories have dropped now as well in my prep. I have training days and non-training day calories and macros. My protein and fat stay the same, so protein is always at 140, and I pretty much, sometimes I'm 5 grams less, sometimes I'm a gram over, depending on how well I've been organised, but I aim for 140. Fats are remaining at 40 grams, so it's my carbs that I play around with, and I believe they go between anywhere between like 95 to 140 or something like that. Next question, what did you eat for breakfast? And again, I put, at the time that I got this question, I had made myself an omelette. So I had 1 egg, 2 egg whites, pepper, mushroom, and a baby bell cheese grated on top with a bit of ketchup. But this morning, I had oats this morning, and I tried it with an egg white, and it was actually really quite nice, just made it a bit more voluminous and almost fluffy. So I had 40 grams of oats, just 1 egg white, so I was a bit nervous to put 2 in, a square of sea salt dark chocolate and some blueberries, and it's actually very nice. I will have that again. Next question, now we're getting more into like sport, wellness, lifestyle, was I have a friend who I think overtrains. What exactly could be considered too much though? So first of all, I love that you're concerned about your friend, but I would say as long as they're maybe not complaining, I wouldn't worry too much. But I think it's really is to the individual on how it works. You know, I'm someone who I move every single day. I train 4 times a week, but every single day I get 12,000 steps in and I do 45 minutes of cardio. And even before I was doing prep, I did that. So I think before prep, I was doing 5 days a week of exercise, 10k steps every day, and then those other 2 days I was doing some kind of yoga or Pilates. But I would say what is considered too much is if you're not able to recover. So if you're not able to progress in the weights that you're lifting, if you're sore from your workouts every single day, then that is a sign that you are overtraining and you need to rest a little bit more. So if you are concerned, speak to the friend, you know, maybe just let them know that you think they might be doing too much, see how they feel, and if they feel fine, you know, some people can do a lot every day. But yeah, so that's what I'd say, that's what I'd go off. Are you close with your parents? I am. I don't see them as much as I would like. I live about an hour and a half away now, not quite that. Before I did live in London, so that was more close 2.5, 3 hours. So I don't see them as much as I would like, but I speak to them every single day. They are amazing. I couldn't imagine having better parents ever. So yes, I am very close with them. We are a very close family, me, my sister, my mum and dad. Favourite sport? My favourite sport, and some people will say that's not a sport, is dancing. Always is, always will be, and it's something that I do miss now that I'm not doing it anymore. But now that I'm going into this bodybuilding, which is what people again would maybe deem a sport or not a sport, but it is, I'm really enjoying this process so far, so this could be slowly creeping up there. But one thing I do love to watch is the Olympics, particularly gymnastics and track. I used to run for the 100 and 200 metre when I was back in my hometown for like the schools in South Yorkshire, and I absolutely loved it. Very quick for a very small person, so I love watching that. But all in all, I love all sports, but my favourite sport will and always be dance. But those are the other sports that I really enjoy watching. This next question really made me laugh. Is the morning routine you show genuinely your true morning routine? And I mean, I'm not lying. I'm not, you know, trying to miss routine and making it up as I go. But I would say the staples of my morning routine stay the same every single day. However, for example, Monday and Tuesday, I am up at 4:15 because I'm out the house by 5 to 5 to go and teach fitness classes in the morning. So I'd say on this day, my morning routine is the same each of these days, which is wake up, no snooze, wash my face, get ready, bring myself downstairs, 5 minutes of meditation, make my coffee, and then go out to work. That's the same there. But on the other days, my morning routine is the same. I wake up pretty much at the same time every day, which can be any time between 5:30 and 6. I get up, I wash my face, get in my gym clothes, come downstairs, open the blinds. At the moment now, it's fasted cardio first thing, let the dogs out for a wee, make my coffee, have a sit down, have a minute, eat my rice cakes, walk the dogs, go to the gym. And it's literally like clockwork that I do that. I don't even have to. I was speaking about this with a client today, so with a potential client. My morning routine has become so much a part of my day that I will wake up, do it all, go to the gym, and I'm like, oh, I didn't think about anything that I do. You know when you do like a journal, you wake up and you clean your teeth, you don't think about it. That's how that whole first hour and a bit of my day is for me. And, you know, sometimes I sit there and I'm like, oh, I really can't be bothered today to, you know, get up, I'm tired. But really, I just get up and I just do it like clockwork because I've been doing it for so long. And I think mainly the early morning stems from when I was working on the cruises, because one thing that kept me really sane and really helped me when I was missing home and quite stressed was waking up every morning at the sunrise and doing yoga as the sun rose. And that honestly, and then I got sent home from the cruises because of the C word. And I carried that on. I was always up 5 AM, got my coffee, and I went on a 5K walk to start the day. So I've been doing it for so long now, I don't think about it. But no, I'm not lying about my morning routine. What you see on my YouTube and on my Instagram and TikTok is what my morning routine is. Next question was, do you want kids eventually? I thought this question might crop up. Never say never. There are lots that both me and my husband want to do. First of all, first things first, we moved into this house in November of 2022, so we want to make sure, you know, in this house that we're in, it's not going to be our forever home. It's like the next step from us to be in the area that we want to be in. So I want to make sure that the house is done. I want to make sure that I am in a very good place financially before I bring a child into the world, because if I'm being quite honest, I don't think it's selfish, but I care about me a lot. As in, I want to make sure that I, one, have the help, which I do, parents, but one, I can also afford to pay for extra bits of help if I need. So I can still do the things that I want, i.e., you know, the lifestyle that I've got. I want to be able to keep that up. I want to still be able to buy the things that I do for my skin, for my clothes and things like that. So I want to make sure financially I'm in a good place. Right now, I don't want to put my body, like the thought of putting my body through a pregnancy absolutely petrifies the hell out of me. So that's something that I've got to maybe potentially deal with and work through. The state of the world at the moment, it's granted, I mean, I feel like the news is a bit quieter at the moment, but the world scares me, and I don't know, you know, we never thought we'd go into the pandemic that we did. We never think that you know, war would be happening again, and it is, and there are things that happen that just scare me, and, you know, I worry about bringing a child into the world when I'm not there to protect them anymore, when I can't help if something's going to happen. I think about that all the time. And also there's a thing of, you know, nowadays, you know, there's so much more awareness of people who do struggle to conceive and have children, and, you know, I've never tried to get pregnant, so I don't know if I'll be able to. But yeah, so that's just my honest sort of answer from that. Never say never, potentially in the future, but right now, in this instance, I'm okay with my 2 dogs that I've got. One who's there on his back, fast asleep. So yeah, answer that question. 3 more questions. Next one was, how are you doing mentally? And I'm guessing that this is coming from the fact that I'm going through a prep, and I've probably had 1 or 2 days in the past, however many weeks I've been on prep, where I've not necessarily been struggling mentally, but I'm like, there's a lot to manage right now. As in, just that feeling of being a little bit overwhelmed, because not only do I have a house to run, dogs to look after, a husband, I teach fitness classes we have to prepare for, I have my online clients, I'm currently filming something, a project that I'm very excited about, I've got my prep, which includes 12k steps and everything that I've already previously mentioned. So mentally I'm good. I'm just trying to just get up and tick the boxes and just keep on going. But I think the lifestyle that I had before I began prep has put me in a really good position. I am quite headstrong. I am turning 30 years old in the next couple of months, and I am extremely fortunate that I have, especially being in the dancing industry from the age of 1, I have kept a very good head on my shoulders. And I think this stems from a question I got asked earlier, which was, are you close to your parents? I had a very, very, very solid upbringing, childhood. I have 2 parents who have always, you know, knocked anything on the head when needed to, who brought me back down to reality very quickly, who have been well looked after. You know, growing up, my dad, he was in the firearms, so he would work night shifts, and I can always remember I'd always wake up, he'd have the breakfast table laid out with toast ready, cereal, orange juice, teas. We'd all get up, have breakfast together, get dressed, go out to work. I'd come home, tea would be there to have. I'd have my tea, I'd go home, go back out to dancing, come back. So I've always had so much structure and positivity sort of around. And when I went over to college, when I moved to London from in Yorkshire, you know, I was still very close, and I spoke to my parents daily, and I've just always stayed very level-headed. And so mentally, right now, and going through, I'm in a really good position. I'm very good at pulling myself out and getting out of my own head. Whenever I feel myself going maybe into a bit of a dive, I'm like, no, pull yourself back up. You know, you don't need to do that. You know, if anything gets too much, you can pull out of doing it, you can stop. You know, there's people around you that can help you. But I think right now, the things that are mentally helping me is just keeping up with that routine. As in waking up, morning routine's the same, making sure I'm getting enough sleep, eating foods, putting myself around people and doing things that keep me happy and positive whilst I'm going through. So mentally, I'm doing pretty good. Thank you. 2 more questions. This one's a good one. What is going to be your first great meal after your competition? So this is my first season of competing, and we kind of have 2 official shows down in the diary, but really there's 4 that we've kind of got our eyes set on. So I want to make sure that I don't go too crazy, especially after the first one, because then first to second, there's 2 weeks. So I'm sure that I will be allowed a meal, but I want to keep my head leveled. So, and with the first show being on a Sunday, I honestly think I would quite like something like TV really bright. I take a curry, something like that, something mild that's not going to upset my tummy too much. But one meal that I would really love is my mum's home cooked roast dinner. I don't want to go and have something that's like a McDonald's, because that's just not, as much as I do love a McDonald's, that's just not going to be right. I want something that is like home comfort and not crap, basically. I asked my mum if she, after one of my shows, would bake me her beef and onion pie, because I walked out my house the other day and someone was cooking it and I could smell it, and I was like, oh yes. So I think something like roast dinner or homemade pie with all the trimmings, chips, homemade chips, vegetables, gravy, an Indian takeaway, and then I have already got my eyes set on, I think is it the Cookie Co? My husband's obsessed, he's sorting that out for me. I want like a slab of some kind of chocolate brownie with lotus biscoff in and white chocolate and all that. I do want something like that that's a bit more of like something smaller, but something that's really going to be sweet and hit it. So yeah, there's a couple of things that I've got in my mind for that. I can't really pick one. And then the last question is, where do you want to be in 5 years time? I thought this was quite a nice one to end on. So in 5 years time, I would like to be happy and healthy, and I wish that for everyone around me, my friends, my family, my husband. I hope in 5 years for my garden to be up and running with my home gym right out there in the back, and I hope to be carrying on with my online coaching, potentially, you know, maybe coming to the end of a bodybuilding journey where I am potentially a pro, and, you know, training prep clients and helping girls with their posing, and just being in a position where I am healthy, I'm happy, I'm financially stable, and everyone around me is healthy and happy. And that's the main thing. 5 years time, freedom in all aspects, financial freedom, life freedom, got my dogs, and everyone is happy and healthy. Probably a bit of a boring answer, but honestly, right, I'm, you know, the last couple of months I've been focusing on manifestation, and, you know, you manifest it, you work for it, you feel it and you see it, and I'm kind of getting to that now, and it makes me excited. But that's where I want to be in 5 years time, in this house with it finished, potentially maybe looking at moving very soon, but, you know, seeing my business thrive, seeing the growth, and just being happy and healthy and having everyone that I love around me. So that was all the questions. Hope you enjoyed this. Any questions that anyone else might have, you know, pop them down in the comments below. More than happy to answer. Didn't quite keep this to 10 minutes, but didn't keep it too long. But that's the update. So next week, I'll probably do something maybe like a day in the life or something like that. I'll try and pick something that's going on. I've got an exciting day on Sunday, the 13th of August. Because, oh, that's next Saturday, that's next Sunday, so that'll probably be the next video. I am going to Leeds to have a day doing like a 5-hour stage workshop day for bikini for the show day, with Emma from the Posing Pro, which I'm really looking forward to. So I'll try and vlog that day as much as I can, but otherwise I'll probably be finding a day just to take you through maybe a full day of eating or something like that. And we're actually having some curtains fit next week as well in our house, which I'm very excited about. But that's it for today. I'm going to finish that video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions that you have, pop them down below. Drop me a message on Instagram here at emilymorsecoaching. You can get that through the link down below. Make sure to thumbs up this video, subscribe, lots of comments. Getting exciting now, 5 weeks out. And I will see you in the next video.